Unit, Salud, Unreal, Episode 3. Your Amplified review begins right now. First 2 episode reviews are live on the channel. Check them out if you haven't. One of the best series we've done on this channel in a long time. I'm having a lot of fun doing these. You guys are really enjoying them, so it's a perfect mix. We're laughing at this company and what's going on behind the scenes, or what's not happening behind the scenes. But we're simultaneously, while we're laughing, we're also dumbfounded at the decisions that are being made behind the scenes. But we shouldn't be shocked because we've seen it play out in real time since Hunter Hearst Helmsley has taken the reins of the company. And this is no shock that this is what they're doing backstage. In episode 3, they really focused on the ladies with this episode, and we really glazed Charlotte Flair, even more than we've done the last 10 years. As if 10 years of glazing Charlotte Flair wasn't enough, that's what we did in this episode. We'll talk about what Steph McMahon said about Charlotte Flair, and it's just, where? How? How can you say, what is the grounds of that? We'll talk about that. But more glazing on Charlotte Flair than you'll see at a Krispy Kreme assembly line. In fact, if you told me that Charlotte Flair was on the assembly line, getting glazed with all the other donuts, I probably wouldn't look twice. It would just seem natural to me. What, Charlie's on the assembly line? Of course, that's how she gets up in the morning. She gets her glazing. But that's what we'll do. On the flip side, Chelsea Green in this episode is talking about how she can't even get booked. Charlie's getting all the bookings. Chelsea Green has family, friends coming in for Survivor Series. She can't even get on the show. But don't worry, it all ends pretty damn good for Chelsea Green. Aside from peeing her pants, she does get a championship. We'll talk about that. And Bianca Belair, or a lot of us, love Bianca Belair, but I don't know what she was doing in this episode. I don't think Netflix knows. They just wanted her on the show, and I still don't really know what we were doing with Bianca Belair, but we'll talk about it all. It's coming up. Episode 3, Unreal, your Amplified review. Now, quick programming note, and this is huge. The reviews for episode 4 and 5 of Unreal, the final 2 episodes, we will have a massive double Amplified review live on the channel later this evening. Subscribed, notified, hit the bell, do all the things, and we will be live covering episode 4 and 5 of Unreal. And BC will wrap it up with my true feelings on how I view this show. And if there should be a season 2, which it already looks like is in development. Tonight, this evening, 4 and 5, the final 2 episodes, live Amplified reviews. It's gonna be hotter than summer itself. All right, pretty cool. That should be a lot of fun a little bit later on right here on the channel. Now, before we get into this review for Unreal Episode 3, I want to touch up on Dynamite from just last night. I missed the first half an hour of this show due to prior commitments. I also missed the main event. That was not through prior commitments. That was just because I just didn't want to watch Ricochet in the main event. I just was not feeling it. And he's doing some of his best character work, I feel, in his career. There was a moment where Ricochet was really catching some momentum, I felt. And then going into All In and coming out of it, I just feel like it was lost. And then he's in the main event, and I just have all these other things that I have to attend to last night. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I can't be any more honest with you, man. And what I saw with the show, I missed the first half an hour, so I'm interested to see what I missed. I will have to check out what I missed there, because I'm guessing there was some good stories that developed in the first half an hour, because that's what the first segment especially is for. So I will go back and check that. But what I was able to see, I liked. It's just I didn't want to stick around for a Ricochet main event. That's as transparent as I can be with you. Now, what I did see, though, when I first tuned in, it was Christian delivering a pretty good promo. And when he goes up to and he says to Nick Wayne in the bunch, he says, "I disown you." And that totally pissed that crew off. So he goes to the top of the ramp and he gets a stand-up concerto. And Nick Wayne really laid into it. but he's standing up and he catches a concerto. I thought that was badass. What I would have changed is I would have laid on it, let it breathe another beat or two, no commentary, and fade out as if you're ending the show. But of course, you're coming back after commercial. But you really want to sell it. No commentary, no nothing. But of course, in today's pro wrestling, you're always trying to promote. So we laid on it for a second, and then all of a sudden you go to a graphic and commentaries. Well, the show's got to go on, guys, and coming up next, and you have a graphic. I forgot what it was. It was probably maybe even Hangman and Mox. But regardless, forget man, just leave it like that. Fade to black as if you're ending the show. Really sell the importance of the segment. Dramatize it to the highest of degree, because once you move on to that graphic and talk about the show has to go on, well, guess what? In today's pro wrestling with these fans, they'll move on that quick. Lay on it. That's what I would have switched up. Other than that, man, this was very well done. A stand-up concerto. And then you went into a 26-minute championship match. Hangman Adam Page defeats Mox via pinfall. This again, 26 minutes. Not even the main event. I don't know why. I am proof that fans will turn away just seeing Ricochet, waiting 2 hours to see a Ricochet match. It's not even shade to Ricochet. I'm giving him props, best character work. It's just some people don't want to stick around after 10 o'clock to watch Ricochet. It's not important enough. This matchup, it had a little bit of everything. The riders were out there, then they were getting chased off by security. The referee went down in this matchup, heightening the dramatics of it. You had all the false finishes that you would want, of course, in today's wrestling. You had a little bit of everything. A couple of times where you truly thought, Mox ain't getting the title. But is he? So there was those moments, but Hangman ends up getting that title. Now, for anybody going, oh man, it was too soon from their all-in match, at least I don't want to compare this to another company, but sometimes you have to. At least it's better than watching the same match 4 times before you even get to the pay-per-view. At least they bumped this up big, and you're getting this rematch off the pay-per-view. You're getting it a couple weeks later. And they didn't even try. They didn't put it in the main event either. So it's really no harm, no foul. I don't mind this. This was, yeah, man. I mean, I was captivated the entire 26 minutes. So I don't know what that tells you. And then you went into, what was it? Athena. I don't even have notes on this. I'm just going back to what I watched. Athena pinned Toni Storm in a tag match. And I know it's a tag match, but that's a pretty big W, man. That's your champion, and that's Toni Storm, one of the females that are on top of the wrestling world right now. And Athena with a big W. I don't know what that says about when she cashes that in. If she's already collecting W's over Toni, usually in the wrestling world, that means when it is one-on-one and all the chips are on the table, Toni's probably taking that. And that's everything that I pretty much caught. A couple of backstage promos with like MJF, which is always good, obviously. Now I can't get him and Happy Gilmore, man. I can't get that out of my dome. So I'm trying to watch MJF in this promo. But all I'm thinking is Happy Gilmore, man. And him and his brothers mooning Adam Sandler as they drive off. Becky Lynch was hilarious in that too. Let's go, Gilmore. Gilmore? Yeah, Gilmore, right? Happy Gilmore. Yeah. I don't know why that sounds funny now. Hurry up, Gilmore. Time's a-clicking. In her accent, she was so angry. I don't know, man. Becky had a small part, but it was very funny. Anyway, that's Dynamite. Yeah. So what I saw was actually good, but that's not good when I just saw Ricochet and I was just drained by all of the work I did earlier in the day on so many projects. I still had a lot to do last night after Dynamite. I was just not feeling it. I was like, I'm not doing Ricochet, man. I don't have 15 minutes for this. That tells you something, man. All right, swig of coffee. We're going to jump into it. Bianca Belair started this. Now, I like Bianca Belair massively. This was a weak start to this show because the first 2 was funny, right? Episode 1, you just had Helmsley pretty much doing what he does, right? Stroking his own ego. Everybody doesn't know how much goes into this production. They just see the wrestlers wrestling and doing wrestling things. But they don't have an idea of how hard it is and how many people it takes and how many hours go into this and how rough it is and how tough it is and the lives that we live. And It's just wild and crazy, and I think it's time to show you just how important I am. I mean, we are. All right, that's funny. You're just watching Helmsley. You're listening to Helmsley do what he does, stroke his own ego. It's just, you grab a coffee, you sit back, max relax, and watch this guy be a jackass. And then episode 2 was hilarious because Jey Uso, right, the start of episode 2, because he's driving into the parking lot, and the parking attendant doesn't even know who he is. The parking attendant is supposed to always know the talent. These days, they don't even just have the name. They have, like, photos with it. They didn't know. They thought he was an assistant to the wrestler. They thought he was an Uber driver. They thought he was dropping off a Domino's pizza. They didn't know who Jey Uso was. At one point, they called him Mark Henry. And then they called him Tully Blanchard. It was hilarious. I mean, you felt bad for Jey, but at least as a television show, you laughed. So here we are for Unreal Episode 3. How are you going to top that? So you had Bianca Belair, and she's just talking about her braid. We start the show talking about Bianca Belair's braid. And I just feel like they wanted to start with Bianca, and they had nothing. So they're like, well, this is at least unique. So they just talked about her braid. I have nothing else in my notes. That's how we started the show. Don't worry. It gets better in terms of at least talking about the shitfest that this show is. We go to Chelsea Green. Chelsea is an absolute open book. She says basically she'll do anything for a paycheck. I don't even think it's basically. I think that's what she said. In fact, and I quote, Chelsea Green says, "We get paid to look like assholes." She then talks about bringing in family and friends for the Survivor Series and then finding out that she's not even booked for the show. And then you fast forward to when they're giving her the U.S. title. We see several minutes of midday rehearsal. Shane Helms, the match producer, Shane Helms is going over how she's gonna win the match, and it's gonna be via a leg drop. That's what Shane Helms wants. Chelsea's like, I've never done a leg drop. How do you even do it? Shane Helms is like, have you never seen a Hulk Hogan match? Chelsea's like, yes, but I've just never done the... So Helms is really set on her winning via the leg drop. So Chelsea raises a big scene in a funny way, but she just is so nervous about doing it. So she tries it from like the second turnbuckle or something. She was up on the turnbuckle and they had the landing pad. So not even on the canvas. They have the landing pad on the canvas. So she jumps onto it. She lands on the pad. So the leg drop from the turnbuckle. And she literally says, yep, see, I just pissed my pants. She pissed her pants trying to do the leg drop in rehearsals. So the finish is immediately changed on the spot. Yep. Thank goodness for this show. We're truly getting the behind the scenes now, man. Chelsea Green pissed her pants. Trying to do a leg drop. We're getting all the good juicy details here, man. TMZ has nothing on us now. This show is really delivering. Very cool, though, seeing her getting her side plates when she won that championship. And she was so genuinely excited to get those side plates. I mean, she was on cloud nine. And what's cool is that she had a lot of like the fellow talent was like around while the plates were being put on, a lot of her fellow talent was like checking out too, because they want to see like what it is. I don't think they're privy to it beforehand. Or if they are, I mean, just seeing the finished product is obviously so special. So that was pretty cool. But it was just, it's amazing because a lot of this show was spent on Charlie Flair and glazing just how supposedly good and how great Charlie is. And all these big matches that she's booked in. And then to see Chelsea Green with family and friends. Was that her hometown, actually? Maybe that was like her hometown even. What was it, Vancouver? So maybe that's why family and she couldn't even be booked for the show. I mean, she couldn't even get on the show. She was up in the skybox. So family is down below because they got seats anyway. And Chelsea gets a skybox, but there's not enough room for all of her family, obviously, in the skybox. So she's up there and there's you see video footage of just Chelsea Green, just like depressed. Like, dude, I'm not even on the card. Why that's a problem is because she had the character and everything that fans actually wanted to see more of around that time, especially. And they had nothing for her, man. It's, yeah. And then you just see the flip side of it, right? Because in the very next segment, we switch over to Charlotte Flair. So you go from the lows of lows with Chelsea Green and not even being able to be booked to Charlotte Flair. And we find out all her, because if you guys have not seen this show, when somebody starts speaking to the producer, they go over all their nicknames. So Charlie Flair is going over all her nicknames, and she says that her parents call her Winky. Winky. Now, next time Charlie wins a championship and she's in main event, good luck trying to get that out of your dome piece. Oh, who won? Winky. Winky won. And new champion of the world, Winky Flair. Winky Flair. Oh, fucking Winky. We didn't need to know that. Some things need to stay behind that curtain. Freaking Winky. Anyway. So then Winky talks about her brother Reed passing and how from that Charlotte was basically born. Basically took the dream of Reed and amplified it into the dreams of Charlotte Flair, Ashley Flair. Now Stephanie McMahon then says, and I quote, "It's not a man or a woman thing. Charlotte Flair is just one of the best wrestlers in the world." I am so exhausted from hearing that. It is so tiresome. This company has bought into their own bullshit. Charlotte Flair is good, at best. The company put the rocket on her from the jump. And they didn't stop, even when the crowd was not reacting like they wanted to. Even though she could not connect with the crowd for over 10 years, she still hasn't. They had to put her with Alexa Bliss recently just to get a rub, because Alexa's getting all these cheers and she's been gone for so long. She came back at the Rumble, got one of the biggest pops. They tried to keep Alexa off of WrestleMania and give Charlotte a title match at Mania. Right? Keep Alexa off Mania, put Charlie in another big match, a championship match, and maybe they'll focus more on Charlie. No! They still cheered massively for Alexa and booed Charlotte. So they're like, let's just put Charlotte with Alexa because we don't have anything. They're so desperate to get people to connect with Charlotte Flair. For over 10 years, it hasn't worked. There's reasons for that. You can't just bestow the title of greatness on somebody and give them all the rockets in the world and expect that to be factual information when you say she's the best. It's not a man or a woman thing, says Stephanie McMahon. Charlotte Flair is just one of the best wrestlers in the world. How? How do you come to that conclusion when you break it down factually? If you know what you're talking about, and you know how to critique pro wrestling and pro wrestlers, she's athletic. Absolutely. And what else? She can't stand selling, never liked it. Promos are robotic, always have been. And she's got 4 moves of doom. Chop, selection, moonsault, figure 8. Call it a night. That's the truth. I always give the example of, in the comparison to Naomi. How is that any different from Naomi? Naomi is just as, and some people would say even more athletic than Charlie Flair, but bare minimum just as. The athleticism of Naomi is off the charts. Promos? Naomi right now, this character, this heel work, these promos from Naomi are better than the robotic promos of Charlie Flair for over 10 years. Now, face Naomi, maybe, okay, maybe you would even take the robotic Charlotte promos because at least she can deliver it, and I get it. No, Naomi right now, promos, I would take Naomi in a heartbeat. Blink of an eye, snap of a finger, drop of a hat. So wrestling-wise, Naomi has 4 moves as well to equal the chop, the selection, the moonsault, and the figure 8, right? Naomi has the split-legged moonsault. Naomi has the rear view. Naomi has what is that, man? Why am I drawing the blank on it? You take their end, you just jump in there and you slam their face right into the canvas, and she basically goes into a sitting splits position. Why I can't think of the name, I have no idea. And then pick any other move that Naomi does to add to the 4th move of doom. So she equals Charlie on all that too. You see the difference? The difference is they just decided not to put any piece of the rocket on Naomi for over 10, because Naomi's been there longer. She's only got a few championships to Charlotte's 14. Because one got the absolute rocket, many of them. The other got no rockets. I always like using the name, but you can keep going on and on, right? This company has convinced themselves that Charlotte is as good as they've tried to make her for the last 10 years plus. They've tried to convince, and maybe they have convinced themselves of that. But there's a reason it's failed for 10 years plus. People have spoken. They said Sasha was better. They said Io was better. They said Steph V is better. They said Asuka. They said Tiffany is better. Naomi, Bianca. The fans have spoken. The only difference is Charlie has had the rocket for over a decade. The others have not. WWE has truly bought into their own bullshit. Stephanie McMahon and Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque McMahon glaze Charlie Flair more than any Krispy Kreme assembly line could ever glaze a donut. They wake up and immediately one of the first things they do as brushing their teeth, they're thinking, how can we glaze Charlie more? That's the facts. I am tired of acting like Charlotte Flair is so great. The look is good. I get it. Tall, muscles, blonde hair, eyes popping. I get it. Visually, it's what the company wants. The tall, blonde hair, just the look. I get it. But you can't all just be about the look. If Hulk Hogan was just about the look and had no charisma, it would have never went as far. Hulkamania was DOA. There's no way Hulkamania exists without the charisma, the personality of Hulk Hogan, of Terry Bollea. Because other than that, of course Hogan has the look. But if Hogan if he didn't bring what he brought to the table, the look was only going to take you so far. And of course, her last name, so she was already going to get the rocket when she got there. She was already getting the rocket, but the look absolutely helped. But if you're wondering why it hasn't worked for over 10 years with 14 title reigns, a couple in NXT as well, I believe, correct? At least one? WrestleMania main events, all the pay-per-views. If you're wondering why all of that wasn't enough to work, it's because the fans have decided she's good. That's all. The fans have said, not that special. She's just not that special. A chop, a selection, a moonsault that never hits, and a figure 4 leg lock where you just kind of stand up on your arms a little bit. Whoa, she's amazing. And Stephanie looks into the camera and says it's not a man thing, it's not a woman thing. Charlotte Flair is just one of the best wrestlers in the world. Could you imagine if you had Stephanie McMahon saying that about Io, which actually is one of the best wrestlers in the world? Could you imagine if Sasha got that when she was in the company? Probably would still be with the company if she was treated correctly. Could you imagine if Asuka got that talked about from Helmsley or Stephanie? Could you imagine, man? Nobody gets that. I mean, the McMahons, including Levesque, they just glaze. You would think there's something so special about Charlotte Flair. Where? Stop. She's good. Take that. That's good. There's a lot of wrestlers that are not good. And they're on a roster somehow. Good for them. They bucked the system. Charlotte's good. I'll give that to her. If you think that we're going to bullshit ourselves and look at her as some, wow, man, it's Charlotte, man. You got to watch a Charlotte match. There's nothing like it. She's amazing. I would never tell anybody. Anybody that I'm watching wrestling with maybe never watched it. No, I'm going to be like, oh, Charlotte, she's all right. She's good. But Io, watch this, man. Io's coming out. Watch what she does. She's so good. Watch her mannerisms and everything. Oh, yeah, that's what I'll be saying. I just, it's amazing this company doesn't learn their lesson. Cut the shit with the glazing of Charlie Flair. I mean, the only person that would do it more is Bubba Dudley, right? Give her all the titles, give her the best booking. Bubba Dudley hangs on the right nipple of Charlie Flair 24/7. That's right. Went out of his way to try to get an extra hour in the day just to hang on that nipple. And on the other one, it's the McMahons. Unreal is correct. It is absolutely the right name for this show with how much they were glazing Charlie Flair. And in a segment or two, you were going to get to her Rumble victory. Right? We're going to glaze her some more in this episode. But first, we go back to Bianca. Bianca Belair, a little segment with her where she's having a wardrobe malfunction before the Rumble. And I feel like they just had no good footage of Bianca, but they wanted her on the show. I mean, we're kicking it off with her talking about her braid. Now we see Bianca in a wardrobe malfunction. It's like they want Bianca. They just have nothing to... I mean, Bianca's just... She's like the normal one backstage, I guess, right? No drama, no nothing. She's just kind of like just such a good kid. She's just like, I got a cool braid and I make my own outfits and I'm having a little bit of a malfunction. I don't know, man. I like Bianca. It's just funny. It's like, where's the story? There is no real story here. Well, it's like WWE, man. I guess you really are going behind the scenes. WWE's got nothing creative anyway. And then you go on to the Rumble itself. Charlie wins, of course. More pro wrestling PTSD, reliving that creative shitfest. I said this in the last episode with Jason Uso winning the men's Rumble and having to go relive that in that episode. And just, I call it pro wrestling PTSD because you have to kind of relive that. Oh yeah, that's right. A night where when you have CM Punk and John Cena in the Rumble, and you could have LA Knight winning it because he's not a flash in the pan. He's gotten that response for over 2 years. He's ready for some piece of the rocket. But you got CM Punk, Johns, and you went Jason Uso. And if you saw that review, I actually showed you the photos of the marker board and what everybody said. Everybody said Punk should win this. It was up on the marker board. Gunther and CM Punk, and Helmsley is just like, what if we put the rocket on Jason Uso? How'd that work out? You're right back to square one for SummerSlam. CM Punk, Gunther, championship on the line. Because the Jey Uso experiment failed. So now you have to go to plan B, which should have been plan A at WrestleMania. Would have been the bigger moment, would have been the better decision. Punk, Gunther, SummerSlam. Now it's just on a lesser stage. Stupid. But that's Helmsley's booking. So we relive this too. Charlie Flair wins. Wow, riveting. Another big match W, and everybody's booing afterwards. Or maybe some people are cheering in the moment. And by the next show, she's already turning heel because she's hearing boos. And she doesn't like that, so all of a sudden she starts switching up. So in the matter of just days, she does another face heel flop. Because there's no connection. Then backstage, we get another awkward AF hug with Helmsley, right? Charlie comes back, and there's just another one of those awkward hugs, and this time with Charlie Flair. We saw this was it episode 1? With Rhea Ripley looking super awkward, like she goes for a quick hug because that's what Helmsley wants to do. And Helmsley just keeps her there. It's a hold hug. It's a hold hug. It's when the female goes in, but they think it's just going to be a quick little, oh, thank you. And then they just get held there. And Helmsley just starts talking in Rhea's ear for like a minute. And there's a moment where Rhea, there's a camera on her. She looks up like, wow, this is long. Like, this is like, can we do this? Like, can you just look at me and tell me this? I don't care how loud it is in the room. I mean, I can lean in a little bit, but can we get out of this embrace? There's a moment where Rhea just looks at it and you would feel for her. It's like, this is weird, man. And then you had it with Charlie Flair where he just hold hugs her and pulls her in and just starts just whispering. It's basically whispering or talking like this in her ear. And Charlie's just like no selling it. Charlie's just like, all right, like probably thinking, get me out of this hug. It's just so awkward, man. You do feel bad for these ladies, man. In no workplace do I know of. No workplace do I know of a boss constantly hold hugging all of their female wrestlers. I've worked at many places from just jobs to actual career positions and everywhere in between. I don't remember bosses hold hugging females. Or employees or things of that nature. Not saying it doesn't happen. And you could say, well, BC, I mean, he's Papa H and he's just giving them some chutzpah speeches and tough shit. You can't do that. I got a really good friend that's a wide receivers coach in the NFL. And if you know anything about those positions, they're journeymen. They play for many teams, coach for many teams. Some of them were players. But those type of positions, you switch off to a lot of different teams. Yeah, I mean, you could be in San Diego one year, you could be in Buffalo the next, and everywhere in between. So I've had the good fortune of being in many locker rooms through my buddy. So a couple of interesting locker rooms. I've seen guys at the top in or around the locker rooms, head suits and ties, and a lot of female workers underneath them, and the way they interact. I mean, this is the NFL. You wouldn't see that. Never did. In fact, they go out of their way to be even more like, respectful. Like there's a certain cadence, there's a certain flow. With Helmsley, man, he just takes these females and he really just, the way he talks to them like he is truly Papa H is creepy. The way he holds them, not hugs them, is creepy. The way he talks into their ear is creepy. We give shit to Tony Khan, but at least Tony Khan's hugs are funny, right? Tony Khan leans in like it is daddy. Like Tony Khan loves just getting in there. Oh, yes. With Helmsley, you get a creepy vibe. He just holds these women, and when you see Rhea Ripley's look and you see like Charlie no-selling it, and who knows, I mean, that's just what we've seen. Most likely he's doing this with all the females, right? Really hold, I mean, that's, and I understand he's probably got the Rhea Ripley fetish. You guys noticed that as well. I get it. It's not like I was, not noticing that. You get the China vibes, and that's obviously a type. And Charlie's got the muscle too, so maybe that's the type. So maybe it is them more than others. But yeah, it's clear he's got the Rhea Ripley fetish. We've noticed that from day one. He's definitely got that crush on Rhea, but you still can't hold her like that and whisper in her ear and talk in her ear like that for over a minute. You can't do that, man. That's still somebody who's under you. It's creepy. It's uncomfortable. I don't think he probably realizes it. And to a lot of people, it's not a big deal. Basically, he's just hugging them, man. He's just holding them for a while. He's just caressing. He's whispering sweet specials. You guys don't understand that the females don't want, especially after a match, they just want to can you talk to him like a normal person? I mean, their own mothers probably don't fucking hold them like that and talk in their ear. Truthfully, their own fathers probably don't actually do that. That's creepy. I mean, legit, they probably don't just hold them like that and talk in their ear. It's weird. And this is the second time in 3 episodes that I've seen this. It's weird, man. And one of these females is finally just going to come out and just pull away. It's going to happen. If it hasn't already, maybe it's on camera. But they're going to pull away, you know what I mean? Try to be respectful, but be like, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, tell me everything, but look at me, please. Don't whisper in my ear and don't hold me. Okay, you're not my papa. Weird shit, man. Had to spend a minute on that because that was the second time where I felt for the talent that was being hugged. Weird. So Charlie wins, and we'll just end that. Say she wins the Rumble. What do you get as a prize? You get to be in the arms of Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Back to Bianca Belair. This was hilarious. She is now making her own ring gear. That's right. So first she's talking about her braid, then she's having a wardrobe malfunction. Now we catch up with Bianca as she is making her ring gear, which is pretty cool. And Montez is talking too. I forgot who he was talking to. Maybe Michael P.S. Hayes backstage, but he's like, yeah, she wants to make all of her outfits. Before the Elimination Chamber, she was up past 1 a.m. making that her gear. And one of the reasons is because when the action figures come out and stuff, she wants to be able to say, I made that. So I think that's a pretty cool story. That's okay. Those type of stories. And then Belair wins the Elimination Chamber. That more than okay with. That's pretty cool. Of course, she ends up getting screwed. She actually went out of her way to win the chamber and take on, who was it? Io at the time for the championship at Mania. But Rhea Ripley cries her. That was the storyline. Remember? Rhea cried and got into the match as a triple. Rhea Ripley didn't win the Rumble. Rhea Ripley didn't win the Elimination Chamber. But Rhea Ripley was in that match. Well, Helmsley loves to have Rhea in these situations. But Belair winning the Elimination Chamber, pretty cool. And that's pretty much what ended this show. I think she then went backstage and everybody's showing her that love. And she goes up to Montez and they share a kiss. And that's episode 3, basically. So again, female heavy. We glazed Charlie Flair. We did some stuff with Bianca. We went through the lows and the highs with Chelsea Green. Stephanie McMahon made some weird statements, and that's, we got to see another fucking awkward, weird hold hug. And that's the episode. All right. This, I can already tell you my conclusion on this, but I'll probably wait till the episode 4 or 5 double review live special later on. I think I'll wait on that because there's a perfect way to sum up this series where I think we all can agree on it, because you still have the people, I have no problem with this, so you're not too much is being exposed. It's all right. And then you have, people like BC that are like, it's not just about us, the adults, right? We're pretty much, we've seen all the best that wrestling has to offer. I don't know if it can ever be better than what we've gotten. So I think now, like WWE, for instance, is just giving up, and that's why they're exposing everything, because this is the show now, the show behind the show. And so I'm looking at it through the lens of they're trying to cater to kids more, right? They're trying to get more kids, and you're seeing it at the shows. But could you imagine being a kid and this is the wrestling you're getting? Like right after the show or before the show, you can find out everything that's going into it behind the scenes. I don't think you could truly get into it as a fan, especially as a kid, knowing all that you know now and how they're just parading it in front of you. They're promoting it in front of you. Watch this. This is how fake this is. This is how the matches are really being called by a producer in the back. Check this out. Are you getting excited for the pay-per-view feud? Well, watch this and you're going to see how good buddies they actually are. Look at Kevin Owens apologize to Cody Rhodes for that ladder spot. What do you mean you don't want to see the next match between them? Just because they're real-life buddies doesn't mean you can't suspend your disbelief. Well, you're making it harder. So there's a mix. I have a perfect way to sum it up. I already kind of did right there, but I have much more to say about it. We'll go over episode 4 and 5, a double review live special, and we'll talk about it, man. Super chats will be popping off, so if you guys want to add to this conversation of WWE Unreal, join on in. It'll be a lot of fun. But until next time, and there will be that next time, BC in the unit. We're saying check you 44 dive. That's a wrap. Unit, salute.